Hello, I hope you are all having a fantastic day. I'm going to talk about something called the spiral of life. So, all of us are on a spiral when we are moving through the journey that we have come on here to do. So, from point A to point B, birth to death, we actually move along a spiral as we move in. And so every single person is on that spiral in some degree. This is where you get that saying, you are only as strong as your weakest link. And so the way this works is like this. If you're over here at this point of the spiral, and say John Doe is over here at this part of the spiral, and maybe this is your best friend, maybe this is your brother, maybe this is your father, your uncle, but this is somebody that you have some sort of emotional, physical, mental connection to. There's an energetic string connecting you and John Doe over here. And so as you're moving along, you're all moving along, you're all growing, you're all doing your thing. And then you've done leaps and bounds in your journey and you're over here. And then you feel like you're becoming stagnant in your growth. You feel like you're not going any further. You feel like something is holding you back and you just feel like you can't actually grow anymore. Well, that's because you can't. So this person over here, if they choose not to grow anymore, then we have to make the conscious decision. Do we stay where we are? Do we become stagnant in our growth? Do we, choose to accept that this is as far as we're going to go on our journey? Or do we cut the cord so that way we can continue along this path over here? Like you have to stay within alignment with this person, right? So there's certain laws and rules. And so we're only as strong as our weakest link. We cannot grow if the people around us are not growing. So this happens in relationships all the time where people are not growing together. And then eventually they become so far apart that they don't even know who each other are anymore. And it's because one of them is growing and the other one is not. Now, if I'm here and John Doe is over here and John Doe does a little bit of growing, well, then I can do a little bit more growing. But eventually, we all have to decide, what do we want to do? Do we want to actually move along the spiral, or are we going to become stagnant in our growth? Now, this can be family, friends, acquaintances, right? And so you have to, at some point, decide, do I want to grow more or do I want to get stagnant? And that is a personal choice that we all have to choose. The minute we say, no, I want to grow, and if John Doe over here is not going to grow, then I am going to energetically disconnect, right? And so then all of a sudden, John Doe just falls out of your life. And you just, you might go months, years, right? So John Doe's over here, he's not growing, you're over here. So you're continuing on your spiral, right? It might be months or years depending on, your growth and what you're doing and how fast you're going. But when you get over here, all of a sudden John Doe is back in viewpoint. So maybe during this point you're actually communicating again, you're doing your thing, but you're totally on like a different ring of the spiral, right? And then, so, maybe he's like, wow, you look great. Everything's going well. What's new? They're like, oh my God, I can't believe that, life has turned around for you. Whatever's going on, right? And then you continue. And that eventually what happens though is the next time around, you might see John, you might walk right by him on a street and you would recognize him, but he doesn't recognize you at all. And this happens all the time in life, especially when we outgrow the people that maybe we went to school with, or we outgrow the people that we are in a previous job with. You can walk right by somebody and they don't even recognize you. And it's because you haven't changed physically. Your appearance is still the same, but your energetic vibration, your energetic frequency has changed so much so that your frequencies don't even attract each other anymore. And so this is what is called the spiral of life. And this is, everybody is on this spiral. And this is where we have to honestly make that choice. Do we want to grow or do we not want to grow? And every single person on the planet gets these choices. A lot of times people will not sever their connections. Sometimes you got to walk away from your parents. Sometimes you got to walk away from your siblings. Sometimes you got to walk away from your extended family. Sometimes you got to walk away from your spouse. Sometimes you got to walk away from your best friends. It's a personal choice that every single person will make. Do I stay stagnant in my growth? Right? And I'm sure this is resonated and radiating with some people when they're realizing that, they can't grow because of the choices that they are continuing to make, right? We choose whether we allow these people into our life or not into our life, right? We attract the people that we are at a certain vibration. You cannot attract people of a higher vibration if you are surrounded by people of a lower vibration. Now, I don't mean higher and lower as in like better or higher than somebody else, because frequencies and vibrations are not like that. They're not like this is good and this is bad and this is higher and this is lower. It's literally, where are you on a consciousness level? Where are you when it comes to understanding the fabric of reality? Where are you when it comes to your understanding of the material world and the metaphysical world? And it's all about your understanding, your compassion. It's about your attunement to the natural world around you. This is what dictates your vibration and your frequency. It's who you are at your core. The more of a loving, compassionate person you are, the more that you have defined your emotions, the more that you have come into contact and you are true to who you are. You stand in your truth and you don't let anybody knock you down. Your vibration becomes of a higher vibration, a higher frequency, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're higher as in like you're on a pedestal. It just means that you're vibing out at a different frequency. It's no different than if you were playing the piano. There are low keys and there are high keys and there are mid keys. And then, sometimes you got to put your foot on the pedal and, you can make that tone go longer or that tone go shorter. It's the same identical thing. And so you need every vibration to make a melody. So it's like, I'm not saying you're good or bad. However, if you are in a group of people, and let's say that group of people is very big on partying, they're very big on drama, they're very big on talking about other people, then this type of environment emits a certain type of frequency. If you want to attract people that are artistic, that are into music, that are into meditation and yoga, well, then you need to change the vibration that you're attracted to. Because if your core group is these people over here that just want to party and have a good time in life, then that energy is what you are attracted to. If you want this other thing, well, then you have to make that decision. You have to cut these people out and connect yourself to this. And I don't mean you have to cut them out as in get rid of them entirely, right? But you have to make the conscious decision about what do you want in your life? Who do you want in your life? What type of behavior do you want in your life? What type of energy do you want in your life? And what type of people do you want to attract? We choose. Our free will chooses all of these things. And the spiral is what chooses who is in our communities, in our environment, who is there. And so at the end of the day, we get to choose. And it's about refining what you're going to accept and what you're not going to accept, right? There's that saying about, life gets better when you stop accepting the things that are bad for your soul, right? When you stop accepting the things that you find offensive on a soul level, when you stop accepting those, then you start to get in tune with who you are at your core. And when you get in tune with who you are at your core, then it's easy to make these decisions on, I need to cut these cords. I need to cut these chains and remove the shackles that I am binding myself with. So that is the spiral of life. And that is how we choose what we want to align with, what we want to attract. So I'm wishing you all the very best of days, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.